Greetings and welcome to week 7, unit 5 on instruction for service learning. In the earlier unit, we understood the instruction for communication. And today's unit will attempt to understand ways of instructing for service learning. Now, first thing is to define what is a service learning course. People have been attempting to do the service learning courses in India also, but they might not have labeled it as service learning course. Formally defining, a service learning course is an academic course that intentionally combines meaningful community service or interaction with classroom instruction and guided reflection. So students apply course concepts to real-world community needs while the community partner receives tangible benefits. It's a fairly long sentence to define what a service learning course is. We will look at what are its basic features. Because it's a course, we want it to be measurable, can be assessed through specific assignments, projects or reflections. It is not a set of lectures and some visits to some community. It is not restricted to that alone. Finally, it is a course. There are some credits associated with that. There has to be assessment and there has to be evaluation. Okay, then only you can call it a course. The goal should be achievable. Whatever you want to do through that course, it should be achievable, realistic given the time and resources available. After all, a course is part of a semester. There are other courses that also happen simultaneously. You can't take a group of students on a long distance visits and so on. So it should be achievable, whatever you plan. Then it is relevant, connect to both the academic content and the service experience. So you can say more or less the laboratory for a course, besides the lectures, is the community interaction or doing some activity in the community. Now it has to be specific. There is clearly defined what students should know, understand and do. It has to be defined completely. It is integrative, link academic knowledge with community needs. These two are not separate. You take some lectures and do something whatever that is possible in the community. No, it is not like that. It has to be integrative. Then most important, it is reflective. Encourage critical thinking and personal growth. That's what reflecting is a very important element of a service learning course. We will talk about it, how that can be made a important and integral part of service learning course. What are the typical components of a service learning course? Clear learning outcomes linking service and academics. So as a course, we have always been talking about writing some course outcomes, what exactly students should be able to do at the end of the course. You make a few statements which follow some structure which constitute course outcomes. And here this is never done generally all by the college or institution by itself. You generally work with a community partner. It can be some NGO type of organization or some organization relevant to that particular choice course. It can be even an industry as well. Orientation and skills training before community engagement is initiated. That is, you are engaging with the community, But you just don't go just all by yourself and start interacting. There has to be some certain amount of training that the students have to undergo before they start interacting with the community. Because if we do not know your own community where you are interacting, you can exactly produce the results opposite to what you intend. It can happen. That's why the community partner and training are a must. Defined roles and schedules for service activities. Whatever service you plan, there has to be certain roles to be played. For example, you may have to do certain activities under supervision, and you may have to follow certain procedures. Maybe there is a dress code also that you have to follow, whatever that is. A regular scaffolded reflection. As I said, reflection is a must, and it should be scaffolded in sense you maintain a journal, you discuss, and you keep writing integrative papers. So you have to maintain record of your own, what you have done, what your assumptions are, and how you think your experience has happened, and your comments on the experience itself. What is it that you have learned? All these will have to be recorded on a regular basis throughout the semester. Assessment of students' learning and community impact. This is assessment. They look at the kind of student learning that has taken place, mainly through these reflective journals, and the community impact. Depending on the course, you measure so many people have been provided this service, or this is a product that you have developed, whatever it is. Okay, so there is assessment, and that is predefined, and students have to be aware of what are the rubrics that you would use to assess the performance of the student. Now let us look at some examples of service learning courses where people have done this. For example, water quality improvement, and this may be mainly for civil engineering students. And in fact, your service learning course can also be tied up with your branch. If you are a mechanical engineer, you can do one kind of thing, or if you are an electronics engineer, you can do one type. And sometimes some courses anyone from any of the disciplines can do, provided they are interested. We will come to that towards the end. Water quality improvement is mainly for civil engineering because there is certain amount of technical knowledge that is required to be part of such a course. What is the service context? Students are partnering with a local community organization to address water quality issues in nearby river or stream, however small it is. The community organization is working to restore the river's ecosystem and improve recreational opportunities for residents. I know of such a project very close to Bangalore, where the Lions Club has been doing that kind of activity, into which the students can participate through a course like this. The academic context now for this is, the project is integrated into a civil engineering course on environmental engineering, water resources or hydraulics. Some knowledge of these things is necessary for the students to effectively participate. So that is one course. We are not getting into more details of this. We will do so with regard to one particular course towards the end. Then second one, for computer science students, developing a mobile app for a local non-profit organization. You pick one non-profit organization that is operating nearby, and you are developing a mobile app for that. Service context is, Students are working with a local non-profit organization that provides services to homeless individuals. The community partner, as we call it here, is a non-profit organization that is providing services to homeless individuals. That is the context. The organization needs a mobile app to help them manage their resources and connect with the clients more efficiently. As you can see, the purpose is very clear. They don't want, the course doesn't expect the students to go and interact directly with homeless people and provide services to them. The goal is they possibly will have to understand what are the requirements of homeless people by talking to a few. But their goal is to develop a mobile app. Academic context is the project is integrated into a computer science course on mobile app development, software engineering, or database management. Some more samples. Community health and epidemiology. Discipline is public health. Why I am giving this example to engineering students is that these days there are many private universities where they have wide range of departments. From healthcare has become a fairly standard one these days in private universities. So on the campus itself, we can create a kind of a group of faculty across departments to work on something like this. It's doing such a thing is quite healthy for the institute or the university itself. Discipline is public health. Service activity, students partner with the local health clinics or community organizations to conduct health screenings, provide health education workshops, and assist with outreach efforts to underserved populations. That is the service context. What exactly specifically you do in one instance of the course is different. That is decided jointly by the faculty and the local community organization. The academic focus is epidemiological methods, disease prevention, health disparities, community health assessment. When we are talking of such courses, it doesn't mean it exactly forms a part of your curriculum. It also depends on the interest of the students. It is not necessary all the students of a batch will have to participate in only one particular community course, one service learning course. But as the nature of activities is similar across all service learning courses, method of assessment is similar, you can treat it as a core course. When it is treated as a core course, it also becomes part of your accreditation process. Okay, that means you can demonstrate to what extent the program outcomes as defined by NBA are attained through this. So it can be incorporated as a part of, I think that kind of thing is justifiable, though some people may argue, but as long as the nature of course and the kind of assessment that you are doing, the measurements you are doing is okay, I think it is acceptable. Another course, Introduction to Environmental Science. This is certainly can be part of, which is anyway like AICT requires that you have something on environmental science or ecology, whatever name that you give. Discipline is environmental science or studies. Service activities, students work with local conservation groups to restore degraded habitats, conduct water quality testing, or implement community recycling programs. There are organizations already doing this kind of work, so the course can tie up with them, because they would have created already required infrastructure, connections, the kind of activities that are required. You can readily be part of such a group during that semester. The academic focus is ecosystems, pollution, resource management, and sustainability. So depending on the type of activity, the contents of the course will be defined with the help of community organization, and organized lectures for it. They can be given by the faculty or by the community organization, and you can even conduct finally an exam also on that. Okay, we'll come to assessment. Some more samples. Education, psychology and tutoring. Discipline is education or psychology. Service activity. Students tutor or mentor elementary, middle or high school students in local schools or after school programs. This is something that has been done by students for a long period of time. I know since I joined this institute maybe 50 years ago, people were already doing that kind of activity. Students would go in the evenings and help out in some schools. And this can be done in a more formal way if you have a course like this. The academic focus is a little bit of learning theories, child development, instruction strategies, and assessment methods. These are the areas where some amount of instruction is given, and the remaining time they actually do interact with the schools. Then another course, business and community development. Discipline is business entrepreneurship. This kind of training is also required for engineering students. Service activity. Students provide business consulting services to local small businesses or non-profit organizations to help them improve their operations, marketing, or financial management. The academic focus is business planning, marketing, finance management, and entrepreneurship. Some inputs, these are not big theories and so on, so within a few lectures some kind of introduction can be given and students can directly participate. For example, having an entrepreneurship center in colleges has become the order of the day now. So students who wish to in future want to become entrepreneurs can certainly benefit from a course like this. Another quite different ones, music and community engagement. Discipline is music. Obviously, people who are doing their major in music can participate, but I'm sure there are enough number of people who are seriously interested in music, even if they are doing engineering programs. Service activity, students perform concerts, teach music lessons, or lead music therapy sessions for residents of nursing homes, hospitals, or community centers. The academic focus is music theory, performance skills, music therapy, techniques, community engagement strategies. Those are the areas where you may have on each one maybe 2 sessions, 2 lectures. Then yet another type of course, Introduction to Journalism and Community Reporting. Discipline is journalism, communications. Though they may look a little outlandish for a engineering program, but it is not that bad. For a few I am sure there are enough number of students in any program who have very wide range interests. Those who are interested can participate in this. The service activity, students report on local community events, issues or people for a community newspaper, website or a radio station. This is their interest. Academic focus, journalism ethics, reporting techniques, interviewing skills, writing styles. So these are some samples of courses. Now, how do we choose these service learning courses? First of all, these courses will be in complete alignment with NEP 2020 and the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So there is absolutely no contradiction or non-alignment with any of these issues. It qualifies to be a course. Then there is another dimension to this. Through any service learning course, you are also developing some skills. It can also be treated as a skill development course. And skill development is required to be an integral part of NEP 2020. So there is no issue with regard to how compliant is it with these things. But the issues are at implementation level. With large number of students in an institute, something like 3,000 to 10,000 students in an institute, because these days some of the private universities have very large number of students. It is desirable to offer several service learning courses, because it will become impossible to offer one course and say expect every student to be part of that. Just management will become impossible. But you can design a few and then give choice to the students. It will meet the expectations of management, which is very difficult to do so these days. It will meet the expectations of the management, faculty and students as well. Everybody should be able to do that. Of course, initially planning and actually it requires a lot of detailed effort in the beginning before you launch that. And you always require a few, people who are motivated enough to drive this kind of courses. The selection of courses will depend on the department, schools of the institute, and expertise available, and the local NGOs with whom the institute can enter into agreement. Because all these are required. And this kind of thing will be different even in a place like Bangalore, depending on where your college is situated. The kind of NGOs that you will have access to or the communities you will have access to will differ. So based on that you can choose. They don't have to be exactly the same for all. The service learning courses can facilitate attainment of PO6 through PO11, all of them. It can be designed to either address all the 6 POs or a subset of them. They can be designed for that. And normally our regular engineering courses or engineering science courses hardly touch anything between PO6 and PO11. So that gap can be filled by service learning courses. The service learning courses can help achieving better scores in both NBA and NAC accreditation. Because there are some marks, not a huge number, but those marks you can certainly get as a part of either in NBA accreditation or NAC accreditation. You can claim for that. You will get full marks. Like simply an institute can replace all the incandescent lamps by LEDs and you can score possibly 10 extra marks for that. Okay, this will also be like that. The service learning courses can be offered. This is my suggestion. It can differ. 2 credit courses. The distribution of hours between lectures and fieldwork can be chosen as per the needs of the course. Now, interestingly, the NBA has, I'm sure even NAC would soon redefine, you are no longer define the credit in the same way that we were doing. Until this year, credit is defined as 1 lecture hour per week over a semester, or 1 tutorial hour per week over a semester, or 2 laboratory hours per week over a semester. That means all courses will have to fit into what we call LTP, lectures, tutorial and lab. Now that is no longer the case. If you spend 30 hours in learning activities, which can be part of the classroom, it can be part of tutorial, it can be part of laboratory, or it can be out of class, whether it is in the library, assignments, field work, anything. If you can formally account for 30 hours in a semester, it constitutes 1 credit. That gives you freedom. That means if it is a 2 credit course, students have to spend in learning 60 hours in a semester, if it is a 2 credit course. Now, whether you want to have 10 lecture hours and all the remaining one as field work, or 15 lecture hours and the remaining ones as field work, that is up to you. Nobody will complain saying that you are not strictly as per the definition of a credit. Okay? It gives you plenty of freedom in that. So these are the parameters that you can use to choose a service learning course or design a service learning course. Now we will look at a detailed description of a service learning course. One course, at least I was inspired a few days ago. I will give a description of this. Course title is Palliative Care in the Community. Discipline, nursing, social work, pre-medical studies, gerontology, public health. Yes, can engineering students participate? If you are interested, yes, such a course can be designed, especially on the campus if you have some programs related to healthcare. Course description. The course provides students with a comprehensive understanding of palliative care, principles and practices, emphasizing the importance of holistic patient-centered approach to care for individuals and families facing serious illness. Though community-based service experiences and academic study, students will develop the knowledge, skills and attitudes necessary to provide compassionate and effective palliative care in diverse settings. Incidentally, compassion and wisdom is called what you call spiritual intelligence as well. If those of you are interested in that dimension, which we presented in another course, so you are enhancing your spiritual quotient as well. The course integrates theoretical frameworks, ethical considerations, communication techniques, and practical skills to prepare students to address the physical, emotional, social, and spiritual needs of patients and their families. So that is the both the description as well as the goals of this course. If you want, you can call them as course outcomes, though it's a very large number for 2 credits. Upon completion of this course, students will be able to understand the core principles and philosophy of palliative care, including its differences from hospice care and curative treatments. Apply a holistic assessment approach to identify the physical, emotional, social and spiritual needs of patients and families facing serious illness. I'm sure if students participate in this kind of activity, it will make a tremendous difference, personal difference to them. They can get transformed or in several different ways. Demonstrate effective communication skills for building rapport with patients and families, facilitating difficult conversation and providing emotional support. Conversation will not be like between friends. It will be totally different type of people, and that's a great, in my opinion, lesson to learn. Identify, address common symptoms associated with serious illness, such as pain, fatigue, nausea, and anxiety. Explore the ethical dilemmas that arise in palliative care and apply ethical frameworks to guide decision making. Recognize the importance of cultural sensitivity and culturally appropriate care in palliative care settings. You cannot apply universal methods for palliative care. It is highly culturally sensitive. Collaborate effectively with interdisciplinary teams to provide comprehensive palliative care services. Reflect on their personal values, biases, and experiences related to serious illness, death, and dying. Advocate for policies and practices that improve access to quality palliative care for all individuals. It's a long list. At least some of them can be attained. Now, some of the NGOs and policies in India related to palliative care. This is Pallium India. This is an organization in Kerala where they have been doing for more than a decade, where students participate in the palliative or trying to learn in the palliative care. Kerala Universal Palliative Care Project. The government itself has a project. Indian Association of Palliative Care, IAPC, at national level. Sankala Foundation. It's a foundation. I do not know how many branches they have, but Karunasraya is an organization in Bangalore which provides this palliative care, and generally local hospitals, especially cancer hospitals and all that, they have programs in palliative care. So, if one is interested in palliative care, I think one can make a beeline to local hospitals. For example, in Bangalore, Baptist Hospital and another Kidwai, I think, is a hospital. They have activities, well-defined activities. So they can provide the required training as well. Youth platforms such as SPIC, it is called, Students in Palliative Care. And there is even a 2008 palliative care policy at national level. And then you have WHO aligned certifications are also available. So depending on your interest, to what extent it can be limited, one can participate. Let me not read all the details. If the course contents can be any of this: introduction to palliative care, symptom management, communication skills, ethical issues in palliative care, and so on. And these sessions will be provided by the professionals who are already trained in this. The local, if you are an engineering department, there can be one faculty member who can facilitate this process with the help of the experts in area. And what are the service learning activities actually the students do, that too under supervision, because you are in direct contact with the patient. Volunteering at a hospice facility or a palliative care unit. providing companionship and emotional support to patients and families, assisting with activities of daily living for patients who are able to receive assistance from non-medical volunteers, reading to patients, playing music, or engaging in other therapeutic activities. Family support. Sometimes the palliative care consists of supporting the family itself, providing respite care for family caregivers, facilitating support groups for family members, assisting with errands or household tasks for families in need. It looks a little strange for a formal course, but in my opinion, there is a tremendous amount of learning in this. So you have community outreach and education, administrative support, bereavement support. So in all these three areas also students of this course can participate. And now how do you assess such a course? Service reflection papers. Students will write regular reflection papers on their service experiences, connecting them to course concepts and exploring their personal growth. In my opinion, that is a tremendous, it can lead to great personal development if you just that one single thing. Case study analysis. Students will analyze real-world case studies of patients receiving palliative care, applying course concepts to develop care plans. We can suggest. Ethical dilemma analysis. Students will analyze ethical dilemmas that arise in palliative care and propose ethically sound solutions. We can contribute through this. Community projects. Students will work in teams to develop community project that addresses a specific need in the palliative care field. Final exam. If generally you require one like that, a comprehensive exam covering the key concepts and principles of palliative care. Service site supervisor evaluation. The supervisor will evaluate you. Feedback from the supervisor at the service site regarding the student's performance, reliability and professionalism. He will have certain rubrics according to which he will evaluate the student perform. You have to say it's a performance participation. I hope that gives you an idea of what a service learning course is, and I hope some institutes can bring into service learning courses as a part of the curriculum, and the more one does, I think it will make a great difference to the students themselves. Unfortunately, the term service learning course itself is not familiar in our Indian context yet, not universally known. Okay, in the next week, we will attempt to understand how to apply digital literacy skills. And thank you for your attention.